Good morning, class. Today is Friday, May 1st, and this is the lesson for Math 12.3. For today's lesson, you will need workbook pages 699 to 704. You'll need crayons and a pencil, along with your bag of assorted shapes. We're going to start by watching a video, a math video, and then we will continue on to the lesson.
How can you classify and count objects by size?
Hey there! This is my friend Charlie. We noticed that the balloon man is selling small balloons and big balloons. The small balloons sell for less than the big balloons. So knowing the difference between big and small can be important. Charlie says he likes small balloons best. He wants to know how many balloons are small.
Shapes can be different sizes. This shape is big. And this shape is small. The yellow circle is big compared to the blue circle. The blue circle is small compared to the yellow circle. What shapes do you have? Circles, squares, triangles, and rectangles. What are some ways you can sort and classify these shapes? By shape or color. How can you sort and classify these shapes another way? You can sort by size. In which category does this shape belong? Why? Big, because it's big. How do you know it doesn't belong in the other category? The other category is for small shapes. This shape is big. What about this shape? In which category does it belong? Small, because it's small. And the square, where does this shape belong? Big, because it's big. It goes with the other big shapes. Where do you think this triangle goes? Big, because it's big. It goes with the other big shapes. And what about this triangle? Small, because it's small. It goes with the other small shapes. You're nearly halfway through sorting the shapes. Keep going. Where does this square belong? Big, because it's big. It goes with the other big shapes. And this one? Big, because it's big. It goes with the other big shapes. What about this one? Big, because it's big. It goes with the other big shapes. 3 more to go. In which category does this circle belong? Small, because it's small. It goes with the other small shapes. And what about this rectangle? Small, because it's small. It goes with the other small shapes. Last one. Where does this shape belong? Big, because it's big. It goes with the other big shapes. You've sorted all the shapes into big and small categories. Well done! What sizes are the shapes? Big and small. How are these two shapes alike? They're both big. This is a sorting mat. This side says small, and this side says big. Sort and classify the shapes by size. Great sorting! You classified the shapes by size. What do you notice about the sizes in each category? Each category is one size. In which category does this shape belong? Small. Why does this shape not belong in the other category? Because it's not big. Now let's practice with the personal math trainer.
You should be looking at page 699, which is the beginning of our lesson, and we just watched our math video on classifying and counting by size. So this is the same thing that we've been doing for the rest of the week, boys and girls. We've been classifying, counting by shape, classifying and counting by color, and today we're going to classify and count objects by their size. If you look right at the video in front of you, I've already put my shapes on the mat or the paper, and I've separated them or classified them, sorted them. Those are all the same words. Remember how we talked about different words had the same meaning, so we classify or sort or separate by whether each of those shapes is either big or small. So if you look on the big side, what we have is a big circle. On the small side, we have a small circle. On the big side, we have a big square, and on the small side, a small square. On the big side, we have a big triangle, and on the small side, we have a small triangle. Notice that they're all different shapes, so we're not sorting by shape. They're also different colors, so we're not classifying by color. Today we're going to work on classifying by size, so whether the items are big or small. What I want you to do on this page is go ahead and put out some of your shapes onto your paper and sort them and put the big ones over on the side here where it says big, and the small ones over on this side where it says small. After you've placed your shapes on the paper, then you can move them and then draw them on the paper to show me the shapes, draw in color I should say, to show me the shapes that you put on your paper. Okay, so make sure that you have big shapes on the side that says big and small shapes on the side that says small. When you're finished, go to the next page. Here we are looking at page 700 of our workbook packet, and at the top, right next to the number 1 that you see there, we are going to lay out some shapes according to what you see there. So right here, you should take a green square from your shape bag and put that on top of the green square. Right here, you're going to find a blue circle, put the blue circle on top of that. Then you're going to find a yellow square, put the yellow square on top, a red rectangle and put it there, another red rectangle to put there, a red square to put there, and then last is a blue rectangle to place on top of that one. All right, so make sure that you have all your shapes out and that you've placed them on top of the shapes that are already there and that they match exactly what you see. And then once you do, if you need to, pause the video so you can get all your shapes organized, and then when you have all your shapes together, then press play again if you need to. Okay, now that you have all your shapes ready, what we're going to do is we are going to move our shapes from the top where it says number 1, next to where it says number 1, and we're going to move it down into the jump rope area down here. Okay, see the big jump rope that's made into kind of like a box. All right, and we're going to move those shapes. If they're small, we're going to put them in this side of our jump rope box. Okay, if the shape that we're pulling down is a big shape, then we're going to put it on this side of our jump rope box. So let's look at the green let's start with our green, right here, our green square, okay? Now look at all the other shapes and compare those shapes that you see. Does that shape look like a small shape or a big shape? Okay, all right. I think it's a small shape too, because if you look, this one, the green one, looks small, and the yellow one looks big, right? So we would put the green one down here into the small box, all right? And then the big yellow square would go down into this box. Okay, by the way, boys and girls, I ordered a mouse pen. So next week when I'm doing all these videos, I will be able to draw so much better. I'm so excited. Okay, so that is what it should look like. Now, when I'm not done, I'm not going to draw all of them, but then when what you're going to do is you're going to finish pulling all of those shapes from up there down to the bottom jump rope box as to whether they're big or small. Once you're finished pulling all your shapes down into the jump rope and sorting them by big and small, then I want you to draw and color the objects that you have moved into that jump rope. Okay, so you'll, just like I did, I drew a small green square right there. Okay, so you'll do the same thing. You'll draw a small green square. All right, this blue one should go into also that would go into the big, so you would draw that in the big one, okay, and so on. Go ahead and finish that, and when you're done, go ahead and switch over to the next page. Actually, I think this one is just a pancake flip of a page. I miss saying that. A pancake flip of a page, and we'll keep going. Okay, boys and girls, here we are on page 701. And if you look at the slide that I'm showing you, I have also included over to the right, under where it says count to tell how many, I have included the workbook page right here. I'm highlighting it from the other side, just so that we can you can tell what I'm talking about when you're doing this activity. All right. What we're doing on this one is this time we're going to count how many are in each group, okay? We're going to count how many objects in each group. On the last page, on page 700 over here, okay, we took those, each of these, all these different colored shapes, and we moved them down into the jump rope area, and we categorized them if they were small or big, right? So right now, when you're looking at your page, in this area, you should have all different kinds of shapes, right? Okay, so you have all different kinds of shapes in there, in that area where the smiley face is. So now what you need to do is you need to look and say, all right, let's do number 2 right here. And that's the number 4, okay? Which of those groups has 4 shapes? Are there 4 small shapes? 4 big shapes? If there's 4 small shapes, then you will need to circle the box over here that says small. If there are 4 big shapes, you will need to circle the box that says big, okay? Once you've finished counting how many shapes in each box and circling the box over here to tell if there are small or big, if there are 4 small or big shapes, then you will count how many categories there are. So how many boxes did you circle here? And then you will write your number to tell how many categories have big and, I'm sorry, how many categories have 4 items in them. All right, when you're done with that, come on here to number 3, and we're going to do the same thing. For number 3, though, we're looking for 3 shapes. Okay, we want to see which group has 3 shapes. So come back over here to your to the page before, so you can see what you drew. on your page, and you need to count again. How many small shapes are there? If there are 3, then you will circle this box that says small. Then you go back and count your big shapes. If there are 3 big shapes, then you will circle the box that says big. Once you've finished with that, you will count these boxes to tell how many categories had 3 shapes in them. Once you count these boxes to tell how many categories had 3 shapes in them, then you will write that number to tell how many over there. Once you've finished, go ahead and go to the next page. Remember, if you need time to catch up, pause the video and start it back over when you're ready. Okay, class, now we're all on page 702, and we are going to do the mid-chapter checkpoint, which is just where we go ahead and answer the next 3 questions about what we've learned over the past week. So take a look at number 1, and number 1 right here, we have a group or a set of shapes at the beginning of the row. I want you to look at the remainder of shapes over here and circle the shape that would belong with that set at the beginning of the row. Which of those shapes could we classify in the same group as the set in the beginning? All right, number 2 right here. And for number 2, look at the shape at the beginning of the row. Okay, we have a red triangle. Now what you're going to do is you're going to mark an X on the group that it belongs to. Okay, if we were to classify this triangle right here, which group would we classify it in? This one or this group? Mark an X on the group that we would classify this shape in. All right, and last is number 3 down here. And for number 3, we have 3 different sets here on our chart of big and small shapes. Okay, and you're going to mark underneath the shape. Remember, in our bubbles underneath, you are going to mark under the shape that shows big and small correctly classified. Okay, so look at each set. It says big, small, big, small, big, small. So are all of the shapes in this category big? Are they all small? Is that the correct one? Look here at the next set. This says big. Are all of those shapes big and all of the group next to it small? Is that the one that's written or drawn out correctly? How about the last one? Here we go. It says big and the next one says small. Is that the one that's been classified correctly? Mark underneath, fill in your bubble for the chart that has been classified correctly. When you're finished, go to the next page. Okay, you should have pancaked flipped your paper over to page 703, and here we are going to do more classify and counting by size. At the top of my page, I have already put on the color shapes that I need. Okay, so I need a yellow square, a blue circle, a red rectangle, and a blue rectangle. So go in your bag of shapes and pull out those shapes and place them on top of the gray ones on your paper. Make sure that you get that done. Pause if you need to. Once you have all your shapes out, then we're ready to start sorting and classifying. Once your sorts are all on the top of your paper, then we're going to move them into the box that they belong into. Okay, now again, this box here is for small shapes, and this box is for big shapes. So you're going to take your shapes from the top and you will pull them down and move them into the boxes wherever they go. Okay, I didn't do it correctly because I'm not giving you the answers, silly guys. Nope, I'm showing you need to pull your shapes down into the box. All right, so remember, all the small ones will go in this box right here, and all the big ones will go in this box right here. All right, now, after you have moved all of your shapes into the boxes, I'm just trying to do a little bit of erasing so it's not so messy, then you're going to come back and we're going to go to, oh, I'm sorry. Again, I keep forgetting to tell you guys, once you've pulled your shapes down, I want you to draw and color the shapes that you have placed in the box. So again, let me find blue. Okay, so one of our small shapes here is, I'm sorry, our big shapes, I said that backwards. One of our big shapes is a blue circle. So you should have a big blue circle, whoops, over here, okay? So that should be one of your shapes. Again, draw all your shapes after you move them, draw them in the boxes. Okay, now we're ready to begin section number 2. Sorry about that. All right, so here we are with section number 2. I'm sorry, right here. And the number that we are looking for is 1. We're looking for the group that has one shape, okay? Is it, whoops, switching my pens. See, oh my goodness, next week when I get that pen, it's going to be so much easier to do this. I cannot wait. Okay, so we're looking for one shape. So is that shape, is it the small group that only has one shape? Or is it the big group of shapes that only has one item in it? Okay, remember you're going to circle the box, the small box or the big box, whichever one has only one item. Okay, when you're finished, you're going to count how many boxes did you circle, how many categories, small or big, have only one item in the box. If you circled one box, then you will write 1 down at the end here. If you circled 2 boxes, then you will write 2 at the end down here. Once you've finished, go ahead and turn your page to the last one, and we will get on with our last page of math, guys. Now here we are on page 704. This is our last page of math for the day, and for the week as well. So go ahead up to number 1 right there, and right here we have a group of shapes right there. There's 4 different shapes, and we're going to sort and classify those shapes into the category of size, okay? So underneath those 4 shapes, you see 2 boxes. The first box says small. The second box says big, okay? So you have those 4 shapes right there, and below that, in the box that says small, you will draw which of those shapes are small. In the big box, you will draw which of those 4 shapes are big. Okay, so draw the small shapes in the small box and copy the big shapes in the big box. All right, for number 2, we have a cylinder. Okay, a cylinder, a 3-dimensional shape. And for that cylinder, it has both curved sides and flat sides. Okay, remember the curved sides goes all the way around, and that's what makes it able to roll, right? So what I would like for you to do is count how many flat sides a cylinder has. Okay, think about it. Think about a can. Remember, a can of something is like a cylinder. So how many flat sides does a cylinder have? Count those sides and write that number right over there on your line. All right, for number 3, Sarah makes a 5-cube train. There, see, there's her 5-cube train. Okay, she takes the cube train apart to show how many different cubes are gray. Okay, so trace and write, trace your numbers there, and write to show the subtraction sentence for Sarah's cube train. tongue's not working. So go ahead and write your subtraction sentence to show for Sarah's cube train. Okay, she has 5 cubes. She breaks them away to show how many are gray. And what is your answer there at the end? Once you're finished with this page, you are done with math for the entire week. So have a great weekend, and we'll get you more stuff on Monday. You guys are doing a great job keeping up with the work. I love hearing from you and your phone calls also whenever you need something. I do miss you so much, and have a great afternoon. Have a great weekend too. Bye, guys.